This is continuing the series where I am discussing harmonica books in my library. This is Jazz Harp. This is my original copy. This book's copyright 1980, and I think I bought it that same year. I got my first chromatic harmonica December. It was a Christmas present, so I got it December 1979. And I spent a lot of time at the music store on the corner, World of Music in San Jose, California, and I was taking saxophone lessons there. And I would always spend a little extra time and browse through the books, the section of instruction books, and I would spend some time in the harmonica section because you have to understand this was before the internet. So a lot of the information I was getting, I was starving for information about the instrument. A lot of the information that I got was books. Whether I bought the book or not, I would sit there and browse through the book in the music store. This book I had to buy because it was packed full of amazing information, and it had Stevie on the cover. I'm going to split this presentation into two parts because I want to talk about his exercises for diatonic harmonica in this book. Then I'll come back and I'll do another one eventually on the chromatic harmonica. So this book is a big part of my musical DNA. When I got this book, I was trying to figure out how to play the chromatic harmonica. I was a pretty accomplished blues harmonica player, and there's a lot of chromatic stuff in this book, and there's a lot of diatonic harmonica stuff in this book. And the author is really kind of an innovative, especially in 1980, he was an innovative diatonic player. And here's the thing about this book. See, I was a student of the saxophone, and I was teaching myself harmonica. In this book, he emphasizes repeatedly that if you want to play jazz harmonica, you need to approach the instrument like with the discipline of horn players. So horn players, by their very nature, are practicing things in lots of different keys. And they're playing lots of exercises in order to gain dexterity on the instrument. They practice a lot, and they don't just play just blues licks. They're like working on all kinds of scales. My saxophone teacher had me playing not just major scales, but lots of different kinds of modes and scales. And so that attitude was always in the back of my mind. So two things about this book. Approach the harmonica with the discipline and mindset of a horn player. And number two, the book inspired me to work on the chromatic harmonica. And so there's an interview with Toots Thielmans, and I read and reread that interview many times, trying to pull some kind of, it was very easy to pull inspiration out of it. So this book lit a fire under me. It really inspired me. The mindset that it cultivated in me has stuck with me from 1980 until the present. That's 42 years. Holy smoke. I have to say something, that even though this book had such an impact on me, I didn't play any of the exercises in the book. I didn't play one note out of this book. Now, it came with this instruction record also. I listened to the record. I read all the words in the book. I just was hungry for information. When I looked at particularly the transcribed solos, they looked too complicated on paper. So the other thing was, I didn't really have access to these recordings of the songs that he has, the transcribed solos, because I was just a kid without my driver's license at the time. So I just almost ashamed to say that I didn't work through the exercises in this book. However, in subsequent years, I would come back to this book and I would look at the exercises for diatonic harmonica. He calls it marine band, like note for note solos for chromatic and marine band harmonica. So throughout the book, he uses the term marine band to describe the diatonic harmonica. But periodically I'd come back to this book and reread parts of it, and I would look at these exercises for diatonic harmonica, and I would look at them and maybe not play them. Like, I see that he's got a two octave dominant scale in cross harp, and then without looking at the book, I would be like, I never really thought of playing the dominant scale on a diatonic harmonica over a 2-octave range. And then without looking at the book, so that kind of thing. It's interesting. This book was the first time I'd ever heard about overblows, because he discusses overblows in the book. And I think he does a little demonstration on this play along record. Now, he has little comments on some of the transcribed solos, but I wish that he would have recorded like the exercises. I think if he had more time, more space, like a CD kind of format. I mean, I bet you anything in more recent publications come with a CD, but the exercises are not in the on the floppy vinyl. Let's just look at some of these diatonic harmonica exercises. They're actually really outstanding. If you're a diatonic player, this book is, these exercises are worth looking at. And let me just demonstrate some of these. He's got one here. Let me turn the piano on. So this is a kind of a bending control exercise for hole number 3 on the diatonic. That's super cool. He's got this one. It's triplets. That's it. Then he's got a few arpeggio exercises that are cross harp, but they're triads. Then he's got this one where it's a 2-octave arpeggio thing, but he throws in the 6th. So it's almost a pentatonic scale. I thought that's very good. I like all these exercises. He has repeat signs, like let's play it twice. And this one is a scale exercise based on the dominant scale. This is all cross harp stuff. And I'm not going to go any further or I'll start making mistakes. I will start on the descending one from hole 6. And then it repeats. This is a pretty extensive exercise. It takes you all the way from hole 10 down to hole number 1. So if I work this thing up with a metronome like he says to do, I would be a better diatonic harmonica player. Like I said, I stopped with the upper register because things get a little backwards up there in that 3rd octave. You know what I'm talking about? The John Popper register. So One more time, and then I'm going to do the repeat just to show you. Yeah, if you work that up really fast, it would be awesome. The second place in the book where he has some exercises for diatonic harp, again, it's cross harp stuff, which is curious to me, is because this is the section where he's talking about this Harmonica song, the Harmonica Boogie, which I believe is in first position. He has exercises for cross harp again. So, I don't know. Maybe we're just warming up for the first position stuff. Here he has a scale going up to the ninth and down. And then he's got the 2 octave. This also goes up to the ninth at the top of the harmonica, and it's gonna. Whole 10 draw is stuck on this harmonica, but and so on and down. And then super cool that he has notated here, playing the dominant scale in thirds. Then I start to mess up. That's awesome. And then I like that he also has it where the interval goes up and then the next one goes down. So he's got. He's got that one also, he's got going all the way up to whole 10. So, super, these exercises, are excellent. These are excellent. Diatonic, if you listen to Richard's playing, he's really has a cutting edge technique on the diatonic harmonica. And I'm looking at this, back in 1980, he was playing all this stuff. Let's see, I marked, okay, so here we are kind of towards the back of this book, a segment called the Notes on the Exercises. The marine band exercises in this book are designed to make the player more familiar with the whole harp from top to bottom. That's kind of a beginner intermediate diatonic harmonica student thing where we don't go much beyond hole 6. And so this book, he was like, hey, play the whole harp, the whole thing, top to bottom. Some of them, like the scale exercises in the sections on the Harmonicats and Tom Scott, those are the 2 areas we looked at already, aren't too hard once you've run through them a few times. Well, I found them challenging. I'm going to go back and learn how to play those in tempo without any mistakes, and then I'm going to crank up the metronome, notch by notch. The arpeggios and extensions are trickier because they involve a lot of jumps and changes of direction. Practice everything slowly until you know it cold, then speed it up gradually. A metronome is nice for keeping your time steady while you gradually increase your speed. Play clean. So he has a whole brand new set of what he calls marine band exercises. I like this one. I marked this one. It's a kind of a triplet. Well, it's in 6/8, so it's a triplet feel. Those are all draw notes, by the way. And then it switches to all blow notes. That's a super cool one. It goes up in the upper register. He's got a section of overblow exercises. So I'm going to attempt to play these. He's got one here where we get the minor third off a whole 6. So that B flat is the overblow. That's the overblow note. And then he's got the same series of intervals, but starting on C. And this is getting the overblows off of hole 4. This is all hole 4. Excellent exercise. I mean, couldn't be more straightforward. Here we back up to hole 6 and we're just jumping the minor third. This is all hole 6 blow. This next one is a little bit challenging. This one we're getting the F sharp. I don't have the best F sharp going on this harmonica. He has some double stop exercises. He calls them double stops. I would call it like tongue blocking intervals. The tongue is in the middle, but he has a few of these where you're covering 3 holes and the tongue covers the middle one. Like I'm okay covering 2 holes in the middle or 3 holes, but I can't do 1 hole. I started to work on it. What is this one? Oh, this is a continuation of those breathing exercises. Let me just try to play this one. This is on page 106 of my copy of the book. Let me play it faster and play the repeat. That's cool. That's a neat one to work up to speed. There's no bends in it. I got to tell you that I finally, after 42 years, looked up some of these songs that I hadn't heard that he has the transcribed solos. And of course, I've heard Stevie play on Creepin', but I never listened to the song and looked at the notation. My experience with the chromatic stuff in this book was that it looked horrendously complicated back in 1980. So, and I didn't have the recordings. So I'm taking a look, and I did play along a little bit. He's got the Miles Davis solo transcribed, the famous Miles, what is it? Milestones. And I played a little bit of that along to the recording. The Charlie Christian guitar solo, which turns out to be a blues in C. It's nothing fancy. But I tried to play along with that. I want to kind of work up some of these transcribed solos and then come back and then talk about the chromatic thing. This book really did. I can't say enough about how much this book impacted me, although I am kind of curious that I never played anything out of the book. It just goes to show me, because I'm in the process of writing a book, and it's possible that no one's going to do the exercises in my book either, but I hope that they get inspired by the text in between the exercises. Talk to you guys later. Bye.